Hello and welcome to this India Today special. 146 MPs suspended during the winter session of Parliament, raising questions over a complete breakdown of Parliament and raising even bigger questions over the future of parliamentary democracy. Joining us today is a voice from the opposition, a prominent voice, the Chief Whip of the Congress Party in the Rajya Sabha and its senior MP, Jairam Ramesh. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Ramesh.
And a suspended MP.
And a suspended MP. You seem to be almost wearing your suspension as a badge of honor, Mr. Ramesh.
What do you do? And, it's absolutely bizarre spectacle that we have had after what happened on the afternoon of December 13th. The opposition made a perfectly legitimate demand in the Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha, have a statement from the Home Minister. There's a BJP MP from Mysuru who facilitated the entry of the two intruders, have a statement on that. But the arrogance and the sheer, ego of the government, of the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, has prevented any statement from being made, any voice of the opposition being raised, and 146 MPs have been just thrown out of Parliament.
Now, you're using the word arrogance. When I spoke to the Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi, he used the word desperation, saying that the opposition has got desperate, particularly after the recent assembly elections defeat, and was looking to disrupt Parliament. Absolutely. He claims the opposition was spoiling for a fight inside Parliament.
Can you imagine Parliament security being breached? This so-called technological marvel of a building that has been built, the new parliamentary building that was inaugurated a few months ago. Two youngsters come, they breach the security in such a brazen manner. The canisters were thrown. I mean, look at what happened. Please see what happened on December 13th. If we were in power, if the Congress was in power on December, and the December 13th type episode had taken place, do you think the BJP would not have demanded a statement from the Home Minister? That's the very least that can be done.
The government is saying this happened in the precincts of Parliament.
Agreed.
It is therefore under the control of the Lok Sabha Speaker, who has assured a full investigation. At the end of the investigation, the Home Minister will speak and give you all details.
The investigation will take place. Investigation has to take place. They're not doing us a favor. But this is fairly and squarely a security breach. What about the role of the BJP MP from Mysuru who facilitated the entry? The Speaker is not to give a statement on that. It's the BJP that is to give a statement on that. Until yesterday, it's taken almost a week for that BJP MP to be interrogated by the investigative agencies. So, it's a very serious security breach. These two, not just two, but the entire group has been charged under UAPA, under anti-terror law. And the first instinct of the government on the 13th was, kuch nahi hua hai, chalne do, behas chalne do, debate chalne do. This is what happened in the Lok Sabha, this is what happened in the Rajya Sabha.
The Parliamentary Affairs Minister made a few serious charges. His claim is that the opposition had agreed in a meeting in the chairman's chamber in which all leaders were present, possibly including yourself as Chief Whip, where you are agreed you will not bring placards into Parliament, you will not enter the well of the House.
Now, I was suspended for... I didn't have a placard.
The claim is that this happened after the 13 MPs were initially suspended. There was a meeting that took place. There was an agreement, according to him. Post that agreement, the opposition violated it under instructions of Rahul Gandhi.
No, absolutely not. They see Rahul Gandhi in every action of the Congress and of the opposition. That's simply not true. These are floor leaders who met. We wanted a discussion. We wanted a debate after a statement from the Home Minister. The leader of the opposition, in the Rajya Sabha, Mr. Kharge, who coordinates the floor strategy in both houses, he gave a notice to the chairman. He was not allowed to speak. He could not even raise his demand. Our MPs in the Lok Sabha were not allowed to speak. They were not allowed to raise their demand. A leader of our house in the Lok Sabha gets suspended. Can you imagine?
Was there an agreement reached that no placards will be taken into
I have
Parliament?
No knowledge of such an agreement. This, this is a Goebbelsian approach. You keep repeating a lie in the hope that it gets established as a truth, is the hallmark of the Modi government. Where is that agreement?
But do you agree that if you take placards into Parliament, if you continue to shout slogans, go into the well of the House, what is the Speaker or the Chairperson supposed to do?
Who said that disruption is a legitimate instrument of parliamentary strategy for the opposition. It is Mr. Arun Jaitley who said this. This is what Srimati Sushma Swaraj has said this. So what is good for you when you are in the opposition suddenly becomes disruption when you are part of the treasury benches. I mean, look, let us not minimize what happened on December 13th. It's an extraordinary breach of security. You have charged the youth under the anti-terror laws, and the Home Minister of India, who prides on his being the protector of the country, couldn't protect Parliament. His own MP facilitates the entry of intruders. He doesn't deem it fit to come and make a short statement, even a one-page statement. I mean, it's bizarre. It's just ego. It's just absolute ego. And let me also say this, that they knew that by suspending MPs on a large scale from the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, they can get all these controversial bills passed in Parliament, in both the houses.
You're seemingly linking the suspension to the passage of the bill.
No doubt, because we knew what the agenda was. We knew that they were coming up with these three bills, and we knew there was opposition, there was dissent in the standing committee. We knew that there was going to be, these bills were going to be challenged in both houses of Parliament. So it's convenient.
All the more reason for you not to disrupt Parliament, but instead focus that these are major bills, we want to debate them, we are going to stay in the House. I mean, there are ways in which you can put the government on the map.
The first item of business was that Parliament's security has been breached on December 13th. It's been not an ordinary breach, it's a breach that has necessitated charges under UAPA to be filed against these people who breached the security, and the Home Minister is going to keep the Home Minister.
So you're saying a 30-second statement from the Home Minister, 30 seconds.
Even just 1 minute, let him come.
1 minute would have been enough for you.
Let him come and make a statement. Let him come and say something. What happened? Let him just come and say. What happened? Let him come and say that the BJP MP from Mysuru, why did he facilitate the intruder? We were not asking him for a 5-minute statement. We were not asking him for a 10-minute statement. But we were asking for a statement from the Home Minister.
But, Mr. Ramesh, if I look at the last 1 year, the budget session of Parliament on the Adani issue virtually gets blocked. Then you have the monsoon session of Parliament, where virtually there's a conflict over Manipur, eventually results in the opposition filing a no-confidence motion against.
We had to force a no-confidence motion in order to get the Prime Minister to speak in a 123-minute speech. He speaks for 3.5 minutes on Manipur, and even that he would not have done had we not forced a no-confidence motion on him.
No, but the point is, it seems almost in every session, reflexively, the government and the opposition come into conflict with each other, this time over the security breach. Either the opposition, as the government alleges, is spoiling for a fight and wants to disrupt Parliament because it's desperate, and according to Prahlad Joshi, the opposition cannot handle the prospect of Mr. Modi as Prime Minister, can't get over the fact that according to him, he's going to win the third election in a few months. That's their charge. Your charge seems to be the ego of the government, the arrogance of the government. There seems to be a breakdown of trust. No, they are accusing you that you can't handle the idea of Mr. Modi as Prime Minister.
There was no trust to begin with. And let me tell you, the new Parliament building, the architecture of the building itself destroys whatever little trust that could have been built up. It destroys camaraderie, it destroys any form of interaction, not just between the opposition and the treasury benches, but amongst the opposition parties also. So let's leave that aside. The architecture was deliberately designed in order to strangulate democracy. However, the attitude of whose primary responsibility is it to run the House? It's the responsibility of the executive, it's the responsibility of the government. And it's an old parliamentary saying, you have your way, but let the opposition have its say. The opposition has multiple routes for raising its voices. When the leader of the houses, the leader of the opposition, when leaders of political parties are not allowed to even raise their issue, let them raise their issue and then you can say, okay, sit down, you're ruled out of order. That also is not happening.
Now, how do you respond to this claim that the opposition hasn't got over the fact that Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister of the country.
Of course, he's the Prime Minister of the country.
That the opposition, cannot accept his leadership.
We have a Prime Minister of a country.
The opposition cannot accept his leadership and is therefore looking for any and every opportunity to somehow undermine him.
People of India will give their verdict in a few months from now. As of now, he's the Prime Minister of a country. A Prime Minister of a country who's not broken his chuppi on China, who's not broken his chuppi on Manipur, a Prime Minister who has nothing to say on unemployment and prices, a Prime Minister who will speak on everything under the sun but will not speak in Parliament. For God's sake, when Parliament is in session, the Prime Minister gives an interview to a newspaper and pontificates on the security breach. The Home Minister goes to some chat. Incidentally, the Home Minister went to your channel, I think, and spoke on the security breach. Parliament is in session. Had a Congress minister done this, that Congress minister would have been put on the dock by the BJP for breaking parliamentary convention and speaking outside Parliament when Parliament is on. This is contempt of Parliament. This is disrespect
so
of Parliament.
you don't regret the mimicry of the Vice President done by a Trinamool Congress MP, which the government is extremely offended about? You don't regret taking placards into Parliament, which has led to these suspensions? Are you saying that all the responsibility of the government, has the opposition behaved? If the government has not been accountable, has the opposition been responsible?
We are holding the government accountable. We wanted, number one, let me be very clear. Number one, we wanted a statement. We didn't say 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We wanted a statement from the Home Minister. Number one, we made a statement. That's not the issue. The issue is the statement of the Prime Minister. We needed a statement from not even the Prime Minister. In fact, our demand was a statement by the Home Minister. And explain why the BJP and how the BJP MP facilitated the entry of these two intruders.
The Parliamentary Affairs Minister says that you demand an explanation or a statement from the Home Minister. He'll give a statement. Next, you'll say Prime Minister's jawab do. So the opposition wants to prevent
our demand in both houses from day one was Home Minister, because we know the Prime Minister never comes to Parliament. Prime Minister is not going to speak in Parliament. The Prime Minister goes and speaks to a newspaper. The Home Minister comes and speaks to your channel when Parliament is on. That is acceptable.
Do you believe that the two officers in the chair, the Speaker and the Lok Sabha,
Prime Minister
the Vice President,
mimicking a political leader on the floor of the House, that is acceptable.
But the two, do you believe that there could have been an attempt made to resolve this issue through dialogue? Do you believe the chairpersons of both houses have not played the role that they should have?
I don't want to speak on the role of the presiding officers. I don't want to. I mean, they are, constitutional authorities.
Who are mimicked by a Congress MP.
I don't want to speak anything on them. All I am saying is the responsibility of running the House is that of the government of the day. You have to walk the extra mile. You have to find a way of listening to the opposition, and then ultimately you have your say. You pass your bills anyway. You will have your say. You will defend yourself. What is wrong in giving a simple statement by the Home Minister?
Where does this lead, Jairam Ramesh? You've been in Parliament for almost 2 decades. Are you worried? How many years?
19 years.
19 years.
So first time I'm suspended.
That's why I said first time you've been suspended.
Yeah. And I'm one person who always tries to find a middle path. Find a way forward.
And you're saying this, which brings me to my question. Are you telling me that there is no middle path left?
Impossible.
For getting government and opposition to work together?
With these guys, it's absolutely impossible. First of all, none of them are empowered to take any decisions. When I tell the leader of the House, let's do it, he says, I have to check. When I tell Mr. Prahlad Joshi something, he'll say, I have to check. I mean, nobody is
check
empowered.
With whom? No, check with whom? Because when I asked Prahlad Joshi, who is the opposition getting instructions from to disrupt Parliament, he said from Rahul Gandhi.
They have to check with Home Minister. They have to check with Prime Minister. G2. They have to, forget G20 now. It's G2. They have to check with G2. You think Mr. Piyush Goyal and Mr. Prahlad Joshi or Mr. Rajnath Singh are empowered to do anything? They get the orders from somewhere else. But Mr. Kharge is leader of the opposition. He decides to issue a notice, wants a discussion under a particular rule. He's not even allowed to raise that rule. He's not even allowed to get up. Moment he gets up, the treasury benches shout him, put him down.
The fact of the matter is there will be those who will turn around and say that it wasn't as if when the Congress was in power, their argument is that the opposition was always given the space that they did. They quote to me 1989, when more than 60 MPs were suspended.
146 now.
The 60 odd MPs were 69 was
now.
suspended in 1989, Rajiv Gandhi's government. Is there a sense that majority governments are the problem? When you have a majority government, you can pass all your bills and the opposition doesn't matter.
It's the mindset of the majority government. It's the mindset.
Was that true also of the mindset of majority governments of the Congress in decades behind, going back to emergency in the years, that when you have a majority government, it believes my way or the highway?
No. This is Mr. Modi. This is Mr. Modi's philosophy, my way or the highway.
This was not the Congress's philosophy.
It's not my way or the highway. I can tell you, in my years of 19 years in Parliament, and I've been out of these 19 years, 10 years I was part of the Treasury benches, we found ways of moving forward. We found ways, contentious issues, but we have found ways of going forward.
You remember on issues like Telangana and other issues, MPs were suspended. The lights were switched off by Meera Kumar when she was speaker because there was supposedly, this contentious legislation of which you were an important part on the formation of statehood of Telangana had raised hackles in the house. So it's not as if this has, the fear is over the last 20, 25 years, there's been a gradual decline. Fewer sittings of Parliament. More and more adjournments, fewer bills being sent to select committees for scrutiny. I'm not saying it hasn't worsened, but there's a gradual decline over the last 20 years. Would you agree?
The problem with people like you, liberals like you, in order to find equivalence and establish your objectivity, you tend to underestimate and minimize the nefariousness of what is happening. What is happening today is part of an agenda.
So what's the agenda? You tell me that.
The agenda was to do away with Parliament completely.
No, so since you're saying there's no equivalence, tell me what's the difference in the last 10 years and in the period before.
The entire objective is to make Parliament completely redundant. This is the Chief Minister who, in a budget session in his state, has suspended the entire opposition, including the leader of the opposition, Mr. Shakti Singh Gohel, who is today a member of the Rajya Sabha.
So you're saying the Gujarat model has come to Delhi?
It's the Modi model. It's the Modi model. I wouldn't say it's the Gujarat model, because Gujarat model means Solanki. There was Masav Singh Solanki also was there. Amar Singh Chaudhary was there. Chimanbhai Patel was there. Keshubhai Patel was there. There was no Gujarat model then. This is the Modi model of governance.
May I ask you?
It's Tanashahi. Nothing.
You're saying it's Tanashahi. Therefore, are you saying
actually it's Amit Shahi, not Tanashahi?
Are you saying that the notion of a multi-party democracy loosely based on the Westminster model is under threat, or is that the opposition being alarmist? Ki tanashahi ho rahi hai, you're heading towards single party rule in this country, democracy is controlled by one individual.
I can't get an appointment to see the Election Commission of India to register our views on the EVMs. The India parties pass a resolution on EVMs. They make some suggestion. I can't get an appointment to go and see the Election Commission of India because they have to get clearance. What sort of a system are we running when constitutional authorities look at the CAG? The least number of reports presented in Parliament by the CAG in the last decade is in 2023. Hardly 18 reports. There was a time when the CAG would produce 40 reports a year, 35 reports a year. Systematically, every institution, every constitutional body is being emasculated.
It's interesting you mentioned EVMs because government officials tell me, please ask the opposition, when they win an election in Telangana or win an election in Karnataka, nothing is wrong with the EVM. But when you lose an election in Madhya Pradesh, EVMs are the problem.
No. This is not an argument. This has been discussed endlessly. Why is the Election Commission reluctant even to give an appointment? Just listen, accept the memorandum and do what you want. Even that they're not willing to do. This is extraordinary here.
So you're saying the difference you believe between the past and the present is this institutional collapse or the takeover of institutions?
It's not collapse, it's a complete takeover. The
only period reminiscent, before you again accuse me of equivalence, would be the Indira Gandhi period, particularly between 75 and 78.
No, Am I correct? I'm not defending the emergency. We can understand the emergency. The issue is not the emergency. The issue is the undeclared emergency. And who used the word undeclared emergency? Mr. Arun Shuri, who once upon a time was a minister in Mr. Vajpayee's government. Mr. Arun Shuri is the one who has described the last 8 years, 8.5, 9 years as an undeclared emergency.
What's the solution, Jairam Ramesh? Because you all go on protest.
There's an emergency in which you have elections, but you have an emergency type situation where nobody is allowed to function. Constitutional bodies are not allowed to function.
What is the solution, Jairam Ramesh? Because it appears the opposition
There's
seems
only
to,
one solution.
No, the opposition seems
There's
to
only
believe
one
that go to
solution.
Jantar Mantar, stage a token protest, and that their voices will be heard. What is the solution to, in a way, bridge this divide and ensure that multi-party democracy remains?
The opposition has to continue to fight. We have to fight for our rights. We have to fight for what is legitimate, the causes that we are upholding, and then we go to the people to seek a mandate.
Have you given
That's
up
the spirit of democracy.
Have you given up on 2024? The reason I'm asking this is Prahlad Joshi
This
says,
has nothing to do with
Prahlad
it.
Joshi, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, says that the opposition knows that 2024 is a done deal, and that in a sense reflects the word that he keeps using, the desperation of the opposition.
None of us are desperate. None of us are frustrated.
There's no
I don't
frustration
want
in
to
the
disappoint Mr. Prahlad Joshi. There is no desperation. There is no frustration. There is only pain and anguish. That's all there is. There is frustration that we are not being heard. And that legitimate, reasonable demands, permissible under the rules, are not being allowed. We are not even being allowed to raise these demands. That's the frustration. That's the agony. We will fight our electoral battles outside. We win, we lose. That's up to the people of India. That's a separate issue. But in Parliament, once we are in Parliament, it's the responsibility of the government of the day to find a way forward. A way forward in a manner that what it wants to get done gets done, and the opposition, such as it is, if they have brute majorities now in both houses, allow the opposition to have their say.
Is it true that many MPs who have been suspended were actually keen that the House function and they be allowed to debate the bills, but were forced by your party leadership?
Absolutely not.
By your party leadership, i.e. Rahul Gandhi, no, you're going to Parliament and getting yourself suspended.
Let me tell you, I was about ready to speak on the Central University bill on Telangana. On the day I got suspended. I was ready to, in fact, my name was called out. My name was called out by, you look at the records. The chairman called my name out and he asked me whether I was going to speak.
Were you coerced by your party high command that we want to confront this government?
I can tell you categorically, as chief whip of the party, there was no instruction from Mr. Rahul Gandhi as is being alleged by Mr. Prahlad Joshi. This is a completely bogus accusation. This was a decision taken by the floor leaders of both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha of the India parties that was chaired by Mallikarjun Kharge, in which I was present.
In conclusion, therefore, do you have a solution that we as citizens, taxpayer citizens, they may have Rahul phobia, they say y'all have Modi phobia, forget Rahul versus Modi. As tax-paying citizens, we want to know what will it get for Parliament in this country to function more effectively, where both sides across the aisle are heard and we have debate, we have scrutiny of bills. What will it take in your view?
It's up to the people of India. I mean, right now, the mandate of 2024. What is at stake in 2024 is very simple. Democracy is at stake, Parliament is at stake, Constitution is at stake, the institutions are at stake. That's what we are going to the people with. Those are the issues that we are fighting for. Apart from, of course, unemployment and price rise and so on. That's
do you accept that those issues have not yet struck a chord with the people of this country? Why is it then that the BJP is winning election after election, or is winning many more elections than the Congress does?
Right now, we have to do what we have to do. And 2024, there are economic issues. There are issues of social polarization. There are issues of economic inequality. There are issues of broken promises, failed pledges. But fundamental issue that you have raised is the existence of our democracy, the existence of Parliament, in fact, the very existence of our Constitution. The Prime Minister has already got his cheerleaders to float the trial balloon for rewriting our Constitution. So the Constitution itself is under
You're saying the Constitution is under attack. Do you believe the India alliance, as it is, with its disparate coalition, each of them having their own issues in states, Mamata Banerjee throwing up the idea of Mallikarjun Kharge as the Prime Minister candidate, the discordant notes, will you all be able to come together, work and offer an effective alternative? That's the question people are asking.
I'll answer you. 2024. Badlega Bharat, Jeetega India.